Hi, in this video I'm going to show how to retrim some panels. These are from a 996 Carrera and they're the standard leather at the moment. I'm going to retrim them in Alcantara. So first thing to do is to remove any of the bits of plastic on there. So there's a centre section on here, and also remove any clips that might be in the way. So I'll start by dismantling that, and then when that's done I'll be able to remove the existing leather. You can just trim directly at the top of it, but I'm going to remove the leather and then trim onto the base plastic. So on this one we've got to remove this centre section here. On this one there's a cover here, some clips, a vent there. And there's a few clips on the back, but they can stay in place because they're not going to be in the way. And then on this one there's just a foam section there, so I'll take that out as well. Here you can see where the leather has been separated from the backing. It leaves this sort of quite soft foamy back behind, which is a reasonably uniform surface to recover. You see on here there's actually two layers to this. There's the leather itself, and then there's a sort of hard plastic backing. When I did these before, I did try to just remove the leather and keep the backing in place, but in certain places it would pull the backing off, so I decided to take it off complete with the backing. So that now that that's done, these pieces of leather, which all came off in one piece, will be used to make a pattern. So I'm going to put them on to a piece of paper, trace around them, just making it very slightly bigger than it needs to be, and then I'll be able to cut the patterns out, and then I can use those to do a trial version for the new parts. For the 4 pieces that I'm making, I've created patterns out of paper for 3 of them because they were quite complex shapes with lots of curves in them, and the leather was difficult to lay flat. For the other piece, it's just one flat piece, so I'm just going to use that as the pattern for the new one. I've laid them down on the Alcantara, and I'm now going to draw around them and then cut out the pieces. I've now sprayed the adhesive on this surface, and it's had a couple of minutes to dry. So I'm now going to lay the material over it, and then I'll press it down, starting from the middle and working outwards. With the front part glued on, I've then just trimmed it down slightly around the back and just put a bit of glue along the edge so that I can just fold the material over to finish the edge off, so that will just be folded over and stuck down. So that's the first piece finished. I did this one first because, as you can see, it's just a nice big flat piece which makes it pretty easy to do, so that you can see the edge along the back. So that's all glued down nicely. I'm now going to move on to this one, which is slightly more involved. I've just made sure that it's all going to be big enough, it's all going to fit. So now I can take this, spray the outside of it with the glue, and then mount it onto here. I shall also be cutting out the centre of this, so I'll probably put a cut down the centre of that before I apply the glue. I've done the outside now, and I've pushed in around the edges. I've trimmed out the section in the middle, so some of this is now pushed into place. I'm just going to apply some glue on the inside so that I can stick down these pieces on the corners here where they just need to overlap, and then that's that one finished as well. With the 2 simpler pieces done, I've now got these ones which have the compound curves on it. This section here is for the rear seat belt, which I'm not going to be using on this car, so I'm going to leave that covered up. And this is for a vent, so this one will have to be open. So I've checked the piece, this will fit over here, so I'm going to spray it and try and lay it on. I've done one of these before, and I know it can be quite awkward to get it completely flat, so I'll just give it my best shot. At least I should be able to reposition it. The tricky thing is making sure when I'm working with it that I don't get any glue on the surface, because it does mark the surface. This one's now finished. There's just a little couple of creases just on this edge here, which I'll try and pull out, see if I can get it out. It's right near where the window is in the back of the car, so it won't be seen too much. The rest of it looks quite decent. So that's all okay. So now moving on to the last piece, which again I've laid it out. This is another one with two curves on it. It's got quite tight curves up round here, so I'll have to try and pull that in. So I'll see how that goes. I've checked that it lines up, it all fits, so I'm going to get that sprayed. Okay, there's the final piece done. So again, it's these compound curves that cause the problems, that are difficult. It's difficult to get them on without creasing, so you can see a tiny little bit of creasing around there. Other than that, it's all gone fine. So those 4 pieces are done. I've done some of the ones for the other side as well. So these now need reassembling and putting in the car.